Welcome back to the Kat-Chup ahead of round 11, ahead of Magic Round. A very exciting week in rugby league. My first time heading to Magic Round, and I'm joined by the guy that I feel like I had to fill your shoes, to be fair. And I think I've done an okay job, but it's always overwhelming to have you in the same room as me. Matty the Waterboy, welcome.
Well, my shoes are from 2 years ago. You can't see them on camera, but they're scratchy as. They look terrible. They haven't been cleaned in years, so they're not big shoes to fill. Don't worry about that, Kat.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in and joining me for the Catch-Up. Now, Guru has been knocked for 6 by the man flu. Man flu 13 plus 100%.
It got me earlier in the week as well. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I don't know why flus seem to hit men worse than women.
I tell you what's actually funny. So I went to the Swans game recently. So not last weekend, the weekend before. And pretty much our whole group went. And like all the guys, all the girls. About Tuesday, Wednesday roll around, I'm feeling like absolute shit. And I start texting everyone like, oh, I feel shit. How do you feel? And honestly, I think about 4 or 5 of the boys were in the same boat as me. They were like absolutely gone, same symptoms, same everything. And not one of the girls got sick.
Wow.
Not one. And then they started like, because we have this big group chat, and then they just started like flexing about how good their immune system is. So man flu exists. It's a thing.
That's a kind of flex that I would definitely pull. Yeah, didn't get sick. Just so healthy. The immune system is just unbeatable. But like we said, Guru's sick.
Yep.
He's out. You're in. And we haven't caught up in a while. I feel like there's loads to catch up on.
Have we ever been on a podcast together? I don't know if we have.
No. So when I first started producing for Guru, I wasn't on camera yet.
That's
I was
right.
still a secret.
Yeah.
So you knew who I was before most people knew who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, because when I started, I was a secret for I think I was a secret for over a year. So,
wow.
So you did well. You did well to get on.
Jeez.
Get on pretty early.
Yeah. What did it take for you to get on camera?
I don't know. It took. Yeah. Eventually, I just withered Denon away, and he allowed me to come on camera.
That's gold. I watched when he interviewed you, or you had that chat about how you got the job and how it all came about.
Yeah.
It was so interesting because you were a
big fan
of his stuff prior, which is really cool.
I was seriously. When I worked at New South Wales Rugby League, all I did was listen to Bloke in a Bar. That's all I did. I love listening. In fact, the first time I ever met Freddie, I listened to Denon's interview with him on the way up to Narrabeen to get some context around him. Yeah, it's a real full circle moment. But yeah, when my mate showed me, so Denon put it on his Instagram. My mate sent it to me. He said, "You gotta go for this," and I was like, "Sweet." And
that is
here
so
we
cool.
are.
That is so cool. I love that. And you also were my go-to when I was learning the ropes here at the Guru Center of Excellence, because I'm pretty new to some of this technology, and Matty, the Waterboy, got quite a few phone calls from me saying, what the hell is going on?
You know what? It wasn't as many as some other people have. You did. There was never any repeat phone calls, put it that way. It was
I learned.
Always one and done. The funny thing is, because when I did it, I didn't really have many people, anyone to lean on, really. So I was just, YouTube was my friend.
Yeah.
When Denon hired me, he gave me a list of things I needed to know. And I was like, I think I know all those pretty well. I had no idea. I bunkered down for 3 weeks and just, did YouTube tutorials and Premiere Pro tutorials. But you didn't call as much as you say. It's all good.
I appreciate that, Matty. But there's something else that we have in common, and it's breaking things. So as most of you would know, if you've been tuning into Guru's content this season, I'm pretty renowned for being clumsy.
Yep.
I break things. And I've broken the Tom Trbojevic bobblehead, which turns out that was a really bad omen. We thought it was a good thing, not such a good thing now. I broke Guru's bobblehead, and then he got the man flu.
Oh, shit.
I know.
There's a pattern here.
I know. But Matty, you've broken things in your time as well.
I have. Well, so Guru and Timmy claim, I think it was last year that I broke their Beers and Break Evens trophy. Not that one up there, the stallion. I don't know.
The stallion just there.
It's behind the camera.
Behind the camera.
The little jockey. And so what happened was we had this thing called the Nosebleeds in Bloke's studio. So everyone was in. We had heaps of people in there. And at some point, I had to get some ice out of the veranda area into the studio. And at some point in that little trip, I tripped over the Stallion Trophy and the jockey fell off. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was just like, oh, whatever. It's just a little thing. I can fix it.
So at some point, just for reference, there was a jockey on top of this horse.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Jockey no longer there.
Anyway, so I didn't think I was prepared to fix it and I was going to do it without Guru or Timmy knowing, but I forgot. Like obviously, I had other shit to do. Anyway, they come in the next few days or whatever to film, and their trophy's broken. And I think Guru or someone texted me or they asked about it. And I just straight up lied. I said, nah, wasn't me. It was definitely someone. It was definitely someone in the studio, blah, blah, blah. I thought, I'll just keep.
Who could it have been if it wasn't you?
Well, because we did the nosebleeds, we did all the randoms come in. Like not the randoms, the bloke community come in.
Yeah.
I just blamed one of them. So the problem was a few months later, I broke it again. Like it was a little bit salvageable, but now I think there's no jockey anymore. It's smashed to pieces.
I actually don't even know whether, you know what? I think the jockey might be sitting in the Beers and Break Evens trophy up there.
Yes. I think it actually is.
So we kept the jockey. He's just nowhere near his horse.
He's nowhere near the horse. But I don't think I ever actually admitted it to Guru or Timmy that I broke it.
So what you're saying is that you've just dropped a bomb on the Kat-Chup.
Yes. I've dropped it early in the show.
Yeah. And if you don't watch the Kat-Chup, you'll never know.
Nah. So it's a bit like Timmy's shirt when when I figured out that I actually did have the shirt. It took me a few months to admit it, but that's all right.
That's so
the truth
funny.
gets out eventually.
It does get out eventually. And the problem for me is that I'm very dramatic when I break things, so I've not been able to do it in secret and quietly. It's very obvious when I've broken something. So love that. But while we talk about Guru, he's left a little video for you that I want you to watch.
Okay.
And we'll chuck it up on the screen at the same time. But this one is from Guru, knowing that you were going to be in for the Kat-Chup today. So whenever you're ready.
Hey, Matthew. Mate, Big Crook over here, as you know. So thanks for stepping in today. It reminds me of whenever Joey was injured and Sean Rudder would take over the side. And he'd come in and do a really good job and somewhat on par players, obviously. So thanks for stepping in, mate. I really appreciate it. Mate, my question to you. It was almost a year ago today, South, and you were at the top of the ladder. We were at Magic Round and you were running around saying to everyone, who's going to beat us? Who's going to beat us? Who's going to beat us? Just annoying the shit out of everyone in the entire establishment, which was quite a few people. And as it turns out, you pretty much haven't beaten anyone since then. So my question to you, will the rhetoric change at the Caxton this year at Magic Round? Will you be running around saying, who are we going to beat? Who are we going to beat? Because I'm a little bit worried. And to be honest with you, I'm looking at your clash this week, the South Sydney Rabbitos versus North Queensland Cowboys, and I'm not sure if anything could be any less magical than that for a weekend like this. Let me know your thoughts, mate. Let me know your thoughts, mate. Appreciate you stepping in as always. I'll see you up there in Brizzy, hopefully.
First of all, Guru, looking a bit defeated. Hope you're all right, mate. Don't blame Kat for breaking the bobblehead, but could be something there.
Wasn't a great omen, was it?
Yeah, look, Magic Round last year. If South, came fifth, got knocked out in week 2 of the finals, it wouldn't be funny. But the fact that they've literally won 5 games since then is remarkable. It's funny, you and I were talking off camera before. We were we're talking about going to Magic Round, which we'll talk about later, but we're like, the Saturday games are mad. We got Sharks, Roosters, then we got Rabbitos, Cowboys. Then we kind of took a step back. We were like, wait a minute, that's good for us. No one else gives a shit.
Not for a neutral fan.
To answer your question, Guru, I am going to remain. Well, I'm not going to remain humble because I wasn't humble, but I've been humbled. I've been humbled by the footy gods. I've been humbled by the Rabbitos going so poorly in the last year. It's unfortunate. I don't know if you know our Magic Round record. I think it's pretty good. So hopefully we do continue that. If there's anyone we can beat, surely it's the Cowboys. Their forward pack, I love their forward pack, but that's the one area of concern for me. It's just letting in so many points seems to be the problem, which I guess is the problem with the Cowboys as well. But Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a very high scoring and messy game.
Very messy, messy, especially after Sharks Roosters, which is going to be an absolute cracker. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Guru, but we can't beat anyone at the moment, which is ridiculous. I actually read something the other day or yesterday. So 2021, when we made the grand final, the only teams that South lost to that year were Penrith and Melbourne throughout the whole year.
I remember that year. Yeah. It was a really nice year.
It was a really good year. And they were the only two teams we lost to all year, and now we just can't seem to beat anyone. So it's a bit sad, but hopefully they can get it back on track.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting year for me to decide to start working in rugby league as well.
Yeah,
so,
unfortunately.
Yeah, we love that. But like any team, with the right ingredients, we can turn it around. And I think this is, you've been humbled, I've been humbled, we've all been humbled. The team itself has been humbled. Sure. I think we had a really good run, but every team needs this. It's the cyclical nature of the sport. You can't maintain the same level forever.
For sure.
So hopefully this is the start of building some new foundations and I guess creating what is the new version of South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Surely if you can fall off this badly in a year, you can come back up in a year. That's just sport, right?
Exactly. That's how quickly things can change.
Exactly. So look, there's a sickening injury crisis at South right now. There's no hiding from that.
You know what? Since you've brought it up, why don't we jump to our injury crisis story? So I have a number of things that happened over the weekend that I wanted to talk about with you. I've given you the links as always, so you can jump into those and have a look. But NRL Physio spoke a bit about on his own podcast, but also just did some social media posts around it. But this injury crisis that you just mentioned, and I thought it's a perfect transition to talk about it because it is huge and we are all seeing it and obviously changes to the game have been made over the past couple of years. We're seeing that it's a much faster game and I think we're also seeing in conjunction with that the injury crisis that's evolving. So for instance, 2019, 2022, 2023, there were 12 to 13 injuries per week. 2020, 2021, which were the COVID affected years, there were 15 injuries per week. In 2024, we're seeing 13.3 injuries per week with a particular focus on hamstring injuries. But I think what's crazy about this is how that we are not that deep into the season and we're seeing a lot of our stars get struck by injury early.
So like when you look at these numbers, you're like, well, I guess it's kind of like hasn't changed too much, but the eye test would suggest that that's completely wrong.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, the soft tissue injuries have been so concerning. Just why is there so many hamstring injuries? Like, it's really, really tough. Like, I guess you don't want to see season-ending ACL injuries or any of that stuff, but the fact that it seems like there's every second game someone's hobbling off with a hammy, and you're right, what you said before, the big name players. Like, why are all the big dogs getting hamstring injuries? It's just. Yeah, it's not good for the game.
And I don't know if it's also the way that social media has evolved with the game too, in that over what is only 3 or 4 years, it feels like a crisis because of the constant updates and the way that we can, in live time what's going on with these players. Like Tommy comes off on that game, that game on Thursday. Within 24 hours, we have a diagnosis. We know everything that's going on. And I think the education piece around the game too probably makes it feel like more of a crisis because you have so much more rhetoric around what's going on.
For sure, especially with NRL Physio going around now, which is just the best page on the internet. Like he is fantastic. I met him last year up in Magic Round very briefly. It was too long into the night. We got to meet a bit earlier this year, but he's great. Like whenever someone gets injured, I'm straight to his page just to see. You're the same. Everyone's the same. But I guess that puts it front of mind.
Yeah.
And
I do think that plays a part in it, but the soft tissue injuries, like you said, not good. And we've seen hammies happen almost every week.
Yeah. Well, we got Cleary twice. We got Turbo. We got Alex Johnson. We got Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Like it's just
crazy. You had Jason Saab in round one.
Yeah.
Who only just came back and then he's out again.
Now he's done his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's in all these positions, mostly fullback and wing.
Yeah.
And I guess Cleary plays.
Yeah.
Cleary plays halfback, but he's
everywhere.
He's a running player.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the answer is Denon mentioned on Bloke yesterday. Maybe put Hammer and Turbo back to centres for a bit.
Yeah.
So because you don't really see centres do their hammies.
No, you
but
don't.
I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm so out of depth when it comes to this. That's why I like
Same.
listening to the physio. But
Yeah.
it's not good seeing these players go off.
No, definitely not. And it's unfortunately something I don't see changing a whole lot.
Nah.
With the way that the game's evolving. So
No, not at all. Like the game's just getting bigger, stronger, faster. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, me neither. But let's jump into the more lighthearted stuff
Yep.
because we can talk about the injury crisis forever. I think it's not something that is it's not the good side of the game, but it's just a reality of it at the moment. But I want to throw to the first story, which is Alex Twal.
Oh, how good was this?
Now, as a fellow Lebanese person, I adore Alex Twal.
Yeah.
He's just like he just reminds me of my cousins. I don't know. I feel like that's such a typical Lebanese comment to make. But he was seen stealing the spray from one of the
Trainers, I guess.
trainers
Yeah.
on field, and he didn't even notice, which is the funniest part of it. And then the ref actually said, "Hey, mate, like you can't be doing that."
It
was so good.
So funny. I'm with you. I've met Alex Twal a few times, and he's the definition of salt of the earth. Like he's just a great person to be around. Just brings this funny vibe. Look, I don't know him well at all, but that's just the immediate vibe I get from him. That he's just a lovable person. And when he scored that try, his personality made that so much better last year. Just the fact that who he is. But back to the spray. I was watching this game live, and I actually noticed it. I had to like look again just to make sure it wasn't the top.
Like, did I really see that?
Yeah, it was at the top. And yeah, cheeky little bugger. But you're right. It was funny how he did the spray and then managed to clip it back without the Knights trainer knowing. And the Knights trainer, like he did feel
he
back
felt
there.
something, yeah.
But unreal.
I know.
Unreal.
It's so funny. I love stuff like this because it's just hilarious. Why not give it a try? But the comments on the post are so good. Someone said, tries one, steals one, awkward interviews one.
He's
love it.
He's great, Alex Twal. We had him on Dan had him on Bloke a few years ago. So if you want a long form interview, go have a look. It's really funny. He's just a legend.
Yeah. Now, speaking of funny moments, there was also what could be one of the worst tackles I've ever seen in my life. And this was poor Harrison Edwards.
Yeah.
Who was on the interchange for Cowboys. So I'm sure he's happy that he came on that game.
Pretty sure it was his first game for the club because he was at the Dogs. I think he was at the Dogs a week ago. Or else, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
But,
he just went to the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you've seen this photo. I think most people have seen this photo at this point. Is there a worse way to be documented tackling?
I don't think so. He's because it's not like he he grazed it and got just a little sniff. Like he is face deep in there, and you
oh gosh, the comments are just.
You just knew that when I saw this live, you just knew because it's funny, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, but I thought it was funnier just knowing the fallout from it. Like even I know you spoke about a few weeks ago the slip up in the Kalen Ponga interview where he said pull off or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I laughed at, I chuckled at it, but I thought what's funnier is going to be that everyone is going to talk about this. And oh my God, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, everywhere, this photo and video came up. It's just going to be memed like pretty much for the rest of the year. It is so, it's why I love the rugby league community.
Yeah.
Because you can just make funny shit out of nothing. And like that should be a little chuckle, but now that's just going to go on forever. It's so good. It's so good.
And I haven't checked if Edwards himself has acknowledged it yet or like reposted anything. But speaking of our injury crisis, someone commented games gone soft used to do this tackle all the time growing up.
There's funny people out there. Seriously, I love just scrolling through Insta comments on meme pages and punters and dribblers and all that shit whenever funny stuff happens because people just say the funniest shit.
Matty, punters and dribblers is one of the funniest communities
it's
I've
hilarious.
ever seen.
It's hilarious.
The posts are so good.
They're relentless. Like they will flog a dead horse like there's absolutely no tomorrow. It's fantastic what Tom and Eddie have created there. I don't know how many people are on there now, but
There's almost 40, maybe over 40,000
Really?
now. There's a
Shit.
lot of people in there.
it's a fantastic page. But I remember, speaking of like people like saying funny shit. So remember how a few weeks ago there was all those articles about how we should ban the kickoff?
Yeah.
And then the first game of the next round after all that chat was Rabbitos Panthers, and Dean Hawkins did his quad kicking off, and all the comments were ban the kickoff, ban the kickoff. It's just so funny. I love the rugby league community. They are the best.
Yeah, we contradict ourselves all the time.
Seriously. It's just great. It's great stuff.
It is. It's the most contradictory, but the most wonderful.
So
community.
contradictory, and like the shortest memory of people of all time.
Oh no, but it's week to week.
Yeah.
It is absolutely week to week. I was talking to a friend about this. We were watching the Manly game on Thursday night. If you went on Twitter right when both of those players got injured,
Yeah.
the amount of negativity around them getting injured, like
ridiculous.
they controlled the fact that
Yeah.
they did that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
calling them this and that and saying time to retire or pick another sport, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Like the way that you can turn on a player for something that is out of their control, and even something that could have been in their control, is wild to me, because it's just not, and it's in every sport. This isn't just a rugby
Yeah, of
league thing,
course.
but I think to
Just
your
the internet.
point, just the way that like the narrative can change so
You're right.
quickly.
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, there's a lot of good, but for every good, there's a lot of bad. And
Yeah.
I like that you specifically mentioned Twitter, because Twitter is just a hellhole.
Yeah.
Like there is so much negative shit on Twitter, and
Yeah.
people are just brutal, and
Yeah.
they don't have profile pictures or names, and they just say shit. But you're right. Like, you reckon Turbo's happy that he done his freaking hammy? Like, come on, man.
I know. I've been
okay.
ripped to shreds on there before.
Right, okay.
And so
So you
I
know more than
actually,
anyone.
speaking of having a Twitter with no profile picture,
Yeah.
delete your username, it's something completely anonymous. That's actually me now.
Right.
Because I want to be able to go on Twitter and see what other people are talking about.
Yeah.
I never leave comments. I don't interact with anyone. I have a profile on there, but I do nothing
Yeah.
with it because I just think it is such a toxic place.
Well, that is a sad state of the world.
I know.
Really, it is. That's terrible. That's
I know.
terrible that you've been through that.
I
But
felt triggered by your comments. I was like, I need to address this.
my apologies.
All right, let's move on to something more lighthearted again. This
Yeah.
one was same game as the Trbojevic injury, unfortunately, but this
Yeah.
was where Mark Nichols gifted a fan his Jocks because he held up a sign asking for them. And Mark Nichols scored a try in this game as well. He seems to be such a fan favorite, but I think just the fact that he handed over his pants is pretty hilarious.
I guess Mark Nichols, you can draw back the fan favorite tag back to when he was at South.
Yep.
When people started calling him the GOAT. Obviously a huge piss take, but the fact that I think it all changed for him that day he scored 2 against the Roosters. Pretty sure it was the day that the whole Latrell Manu thing happened. So it was like a light moment in like what happened in that game. I think it was that game. Apologies if I'm wrong, but he scored a double, and I'm pretty sure his deal with his mate was that his mate would have to get a goat tattoo, or he'd get someone to get a goat tattoo. Anyway, that legend has just exploded ever since. And again, another example of funny rugby league people like a bloke bringing a sign saying, "Can I have your Jocks?" Like that is so funny.
Yeah, but the fact that he then gave them.
Then gave them to him.
Like that's just the best thing about the sport.
It's so funny. And I was on punters and dribblers again whilst all this was happening, and people were posting it. So I was getting, and a lot of people were getting, a kind of live timeline
Oh, how good.
as to what happened. And then when the news broke, the best news of the weekend, that he'd given his Jocks over, fantastic.
Oh, it's what you want to see. I love the kind of fan and player interactions.
Oh, it's the best.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, and Mark Nichols, if you don't follow him on Instagram, please do, because
I don't.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, I will.
So like he does funny shit all the time. Like for example, the other day he filmed the change room and he went into everyone's locker to see how many boots they have. And then he went to his locker and there's like only one pair of boots in there, and it's just like justice for front rowers. He's just a funny bloke. He's a funny bloke.
I love
He's
that.
Soul of the Earth is another guy, just like Alex Twal. So yeah, give him a follow. He's funny as.
Okay, I will. I will follow him after this. But I agree with you. I think you need the people in the game that don't take themselves too seriously.
For sure. I mean, we don't know if Wayne's going to come back to South. but he always brings one or two people with him.
Oh my gosh.
I would like Mark Nichols back, especially, I mean, we need leadership in the middle. So
I completely agree with that.
Yeah,
I was quite disappointed when Nichols left.
Same.
I didn't see the need for him to not play with us.
For sure. Yeah. When he came to South, I'll admit, I was at the start, I was like, oh, this guy's not that good. But then he just developed into this absolute workhorse. Yeah. And he's shown that at the Dolphins as well. We desperately need a guy like Nichols. So
yeah, and I think it's the age-old question of whether it's the player or the team that works for Mark Nichols. And we've seen what he can do with Wayne Bennett. I think
that's right.
If Wayne was to come back to Souths, bring Nichols with him.
For sure.
And
Please come back, Wayne. Please come back.
I would like that.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like we could go into a bit of a rabbit hole if we talk about Wayne Bennett coming back. So
ooh, yes.
Maybe we'll give that one a skip this time. When he does, when there is a movement on this story though, I definitely want to hear from you.
Yep. Sweet. Lock it in.
Cool. Now, I asked you off air before if you were a boxing fan and you
not really.
Casual?
Yeah. I'll keep up to date, but I don't really. Like, I watch all the big fights.
Okay, cool. So I'm similar.
Yeah.
Now, one of the stories to come out of the weekend was that Tavita Pangai Junior made not his debut, but he went and fought, and it was a rather disappointing result for him. Now, I've sent you a video here, but I just wanted to talk about it briefly. But his career is definitely on the ropes because he was knocked out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
In 69 seconds.
Right. I'm watching it now. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that's brutal. Wow. Oh. Yeah, he got absolutely rocked by a big left.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a boxing guy, so the first thing I wanted to say was haymaker there. I don't know what the technical term is, but he got rattled by a haymaker and then he just got pumped. So
you sound like a professional to me.
I should be ringside.
Yeah.
Look, that's unfortunate.
I know.
When I listen to TPJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of the home internet. Is that TPG?
TPG.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, no. I listened to him talk on the buy round with James Graham when he did make the decision to go to boxing, and he seems like a really cool, like nice dude, Tavita. And I don't think I've ever met him. I might have met him once during an Origin camp or something, but he seemed really committed and really focused and something he really, really wanted to do. And a lot of people say like Payne Haas and that, they've all said that out of all the players, like he can throw them the best. Now, obviously, it's unfortunate what happened. And I was really, really pumped for him when it kind of happened. I know a lot of people laughed and was like, he'll be back in footy next year. And, you know, maybe they're right. But I'm a bit disappointed. I was rooting for him. I'm still rooting for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's getting knocked out like that, he might be in rugby league pretty soon.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with you. Boxing, I think, is one of the hardest, toughest sports. We say that rugby league is one of the toughest sports out there, and that's just true. The stats are there.
Yeah.
But when you're talking one-on-one, boxing has to be one of the most mentally and physically challenging sports out there.
For sure.
And anyone I know who's gone through camp or fought or done anything of that nature, it is so incredibly difficult. It doesn't matter how big of a rugby league player you are and how many concussions you've had and how many times you've dealt with a one-on-one where you've lost. Nothing prepares you for a knockout situation like that. And let's remember too that TPJ, I almost said TPG myself. He's also in a weight class. He's playing against people the same size as him.
Yeah.
He's fighting against people the same size as him. And the guy that he was playing against, the guy that he was fighting against is also not super experienced. But if you watch that video, you can see that Pangai Junior kind of dropped his arm and exposed his face, and there was a perfect opportunity there to just whack him. So
couple of boxing experts over here.
Oh, listen to the terminology that we're using.
Tune in next time.
Yeah.
Tune in next time for the next TPJ fight. But yeah.
Brought to you by TPG.
TPG. Reach out. Yeah, look. Boxing ring must be the loneliest place in the world. Like, you not only are you in there by yourself, there's a guy there trying to freaking knock you out. So yeah, he's mentally tougher than me.
Would you ever go Would you ever do a fight?
I'm
Because
just
we obviously had the creative fight a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see, not that it's trendy, but I think it's just becoming a little bit more of a common thing for people to just give it a go at some point in their lives. Would you do it?
Look, I'm a proud gym member at Virgin Active, and I sometimes do a boxercise class there from time to time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Thankfully for me, the boxing bag actually doesn't throw back. So I think that's probably where I'll leave it.
Yeah.
My instructor, Tony, is an absolute legend, and I don't think he would recommend me getting in the ring. So no, I don't think I'll be getting in the ring
I
anytime
love
soon.
it. I had a friend do the corporate boxing.
Yes.
And she went into a full camp, obviously. She loved the experience and has become a huge boxer now. That's her thing.
really?
It became like her main sport. Yeah. She
Oh,
was previously
shit.
a football player and then
Yeah.
decided, you know what, I think that's where I really admire the mental strength to do any kind of solo sport where
sure.
it is all on you. You cannot shift the blame to anyone. If you lose, it's on you.
100%.
And I think it's something that to me looks really daunting.
Yeah. No, I agree. And geez, full credit to her for that. That's mad. That's
I know.
awesome.
It's pretty cool. But I wonder which footy player will be the next to take to go into the ring and
Taylor May looks like he can bang. Like
Oh, yeah.
I think he fought Freddie Lussick maybe a year or two ago,
Really?
and he just destroyed poor Freddie Lussick. I think, I think I heard Terrell talk about Taylor fighting. So I think Taylor May's, he looks like he can throw him as well.
yeah, the May brothers. They've got that thing about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love the Mays. I like Terrell and Taylor. I love what Terrell's doing
Yeah.
with the Roosters and Taylor. He's going to be a superstar.
We talked about Terrell last week because Joey Manu has his vlog series
Yep.
on YouTube and he features Terrell a lot in his videos. And I didn't realize how funny he was.
Hilarious.
He's got quite a personality on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I've met him once when Denon interviewed him last year. That seems to be a theme, but
Yeah, take a shot every time Matty says I met him.
yeah, I know. I mean, where else am I going to meet these players? I'm not just fucking floating around the stadiums. But nah, he was a funny dude, and massive. Holy shit.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
big. Yeah, big guy.
It's so deceiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would have experienced this too, but whenever I've met someone in person, I'm always taken aback at how big these guys are because when they're all together and they're all on TV together, you don't realize how big they are because they're all big.
Exactly.
But when you isolate one and put them in a normal place, you realize just how big they are.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The ones I was shocked at the most were kind of the taller ones. So Campbell Graham, when I met him, well, actually, I went to school with him, but he obviously wasn't that tall back then.
Oh, you did go to school with him, I remember.
Yeah, he was a few years younger than I was. I never really interacted with him. But when he was like at the height of his powers, like last year or the year before, and I saw him and I'm like, holy shit, you are so tall. The other one was Jason Saab. I could not believe, Jason Saab's tall from seeing him on TV, but I was just like, holy shit.
No, I know. I'm friends with Jason Saab.
Oh,
and
there you
whenever
go.
I see him, I'm like, what the hell,
so
man? Like,
tall.
you are actually so tall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like a super athlete.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, I'm gonna give you a couple of questions that have come in from some of the Rugby League Guru followers because they're pretty good. And I think I want answers to some of this stuff as well. But the first one hurts me. It hurts me. From Dylan Allardyce. Are you and Kat the leaders of the South Losers Anonymous?
Well, Dylan, that wasn't called for. That was very uncalled for, Dylan.
That was rude, Dylan.
Look, we're going to Magic Round, so we will. I guess we can lead the charge up there if we don't win, but that's hard.
I know. You know what? You don't even have to entertain Dylan. Dylan, if you're going to be rude.
Come on, Dylan.
Don't be rude, Dylan. Okay. Now, this is a more positive question. This one is from Aussie Comedy Legends podcast. He said, if Matty could sign one player to help fix Stouts, who would it be? Oh. Is it Mark Nichols?
Oh, goodness. One player. I think they desperately need. God, they need a lot of players. I'm thinking halfback or I'm thinking front rower. So I would probably
Can we have Adam Reynolds back?
I was thinking Reynolds. That'd be nice.
Isn't that the worst that we just want players back?
I know, isn't it crazy? And I feel so sorry for Lockie Elias that he's been shopped around.
No.
But isn't it ironic now that Reynolds is going to last longer at the Broncos than
Yes.
Elias
Yeah,
at
but
South?
South never consulted us when they made that decision, did they?
It's silly.
So if we really were the leaders of the Souths Losers Anonymous, we
Yeah.
would have been consulted.
Exactly.
and
Reynolds
we
never would
weren't.
have left.
Yeah.
Look, I'd probably go for someone like Payne Haas. Like, I just think Souths are desperate for forwards at the moment.
Yeah.
There's enough talent in that back line, like Latrell and Cody and Jackie White, and if we get enough of a platform, they'll be able to work their magic.
Completely agree.
So obviously, I'd say someone like Cleary, but I think Souths really need a front rower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who would you say?
Well, I really like what you've said. I think my problem, once again, is that I keep looking at players we let go that I felt fit our system so well. But then you look at the way that the team's evolved, and we're not the same team that we were 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. Even I still dream of 2014 like it was
It's the best.
like it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't 2 years ago. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, we're at the.
I think I'm in
we're at reunion areas now.
I know. I'm in straight up denial about that. But
Fuck.
look, I'd agree with you, but I also think, like, why not get someone like Nathan Cleary to come in and just see what he could do for us? To get the best halfback, with the best player in the game. It would be interesting even just to see what the impact would be like.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought about Carrigan as well, but we already got Cam Murray. So Cam Murry's obviously...
Well, we just need Cam Murray to come back from injury.
Yeah, exactly right. It's devastating that he's been injured. And
I know.
I feel bad for him because he's been awesome all year.
Agreed.
And now he's been... It's a shame as well because I was looking forward, as if I know them, but like I was like looking forward for them, the South players, to go into Origin camp and go into a bit of a nicer environment. So it's a shame for Cam that he's not going to play Origin this year.
I know. I think just put State of Origin on hold though, looking at the state of New South Wales.
Absolutely. Jeez, that's another freaking mess.
I know. It's a whole other mess.
Yeah.
This one is from Ella Kazma.
Ella,
we
shout
love
out.
Ella. What's the line for hours spent at the Caxton over the weekend?
Oh, okay. All right. Let's talk magic round. So last year, let's go last year. So last year I rocked up at the Caxton at about 3 o'clock on the Friday, stayed for 3 hours. Then I went to the footy, then went back to the Caxton for probably another 4 or 5. So what's that? That's about 8 or 9 hours there. Then Saturday, got to the Caxton at 10 to set up. And I think I was there till 3 in the morning. So,
Oh my Lord.
so do the maths there. It's like 18, another 18. And then Ella was one of the real stayers last year. It was
She puts up a good
yeah.
innings.
Yeah, she was there till pretty much when everyone left. A bunch of us went to the casino. It was great. But going to the casino was like the only non-Caxton thing I did that whole weekend.
Oh,
that was the
wow.
furthest I went away. So
Wow.
So 18 hours plus another 20. Let's call it 24. Yeah, I'll say over 24 hours again this year. I don't have tickets to any games. So
Holy. You were saying you're going to try and get to some of the Saturday games.
yeah. So because Sharks are playing Roosters, I think that'll be cracker.
It's going to be cracker.
I really want to go to
Both
that.
look so good right now.
Yeah, and obviously Rabbitos play straight after, so I wouldn't mind trying to duck into those
Huge.
ones. But we'll see.
Yeah.
See if we
See
can
how-
get hands on a
look
ticket.
out for Matty, see if he is a real South fan and next game on Saturday. All right, another question from Toddy G. Who's the biggest pest in the podcast/content game community?
Oh, biggest pest, Jesus.
It's a good question, isn't it? I feel like I can answer this after Magic Round.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I think Guru sometimes finds me annoying.
Oh, speaking of which, maybe this is a perfect transition to me asking you a question that Guru sent me for you, which
Okay.
is, what was your fight with Guru over a few weeks ago? And maybe that will answer the pest question.
All right, I didn't know if we should like bring up what the actual fight was about, but since Guru's asked, basically we can track this back to the Hello Sport Christmas party from last year, where we were talking about Immortals and just all that normal stuff.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
normal stuff that when the night gets a bit darker, and you just talk shit.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm not going to say who thinks who. I'll leave that to the people to figure out. It's pretty obvious, but one of us thinks Cronk's better than Thurston, and the other one thinks Thurston's better than Cronk.
Right. And
that argument was between me and Guru and a few others at the Hello Sport Christmas party, and it went on for a while. And you know, when you have a few drinks, things get not heated, but like you're a little more passionate.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that went on, and it was kind of we laughed about it the next day, blah blah. But then recently, we were at Archie Rose, the gin distillery down the road, and this was after a Super Saturday of just beers.
Yeah.
And the argument, I don't know how it got brought up again, but the argument got brought up, and it was to a point where we were sitting in Archie Rose, and Timmy and his brother like a few times had to tell me to like be quiet, like quieten down, because I was just trying to yell over the top of Guru. So yeah, we're fighting over Cronk versus Thurston, and it's a argument that did not get resolved, and it will not get resolved.
It won't get resolved. It's too like it's if you can argue about it, it means it's subjective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And look, I'm sure Guru has gone off to his mates and like gathered their opinions. I've done that. I've done the same and tried to garner a bit of support, but it seems to be split pretty evenly. But yeah, It
sounds like the conversation will probably continue up at Magic Round.
I think it will. And the thing was, Guru actually, Guru drove that night. So like, because he had to go to a dinner or something.
Yeah.
So I think I was being a bit more vocal about it than he was. But
he was just defending himself.
Good. Like it was a rugby league argument. It was absolutely nothing. It was funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
You brought up the T-shirt thing before.
Yep.
We have a question from Geordie K asking, are you letting any of the boys borrow a shirt this year?
Timmy's banned from my wardrobe. I had, as I said, I'll run through it quickly again, a whole suitcase, and he stole my Ralph Lauren shirt last year. Look, I guess we're wearing our bloke jerseys on the Saturday.
Yeah,
so if I need to bring, I might bring a spare bloke jersey for Timmy, but that's it. That's all I guess. That's all.
Surely Timmy will just bring some spares for himself this time.
Surely. The fact that he bought one T-shirt for the weekend is just the funniest thing ever.
But also if you know Timmy, it's not that surprising.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Now that I know him as well as I do, I'm just not surprised at all.
Yeah.
All right. Sportshed TV, I love these guys.
Yeah, same. They're great.
They are unreal. So I've emceed both the charity matches last year's and this year. They've asked if you will be the official Waterboy for next year's charity match.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Lock that in now. I was so FOMO this year. Wasn't it that it was a pretty hot day, wasn't it, this year?
Yeah, it was
so
pretty hot.
I'll be needed.
Oh yeah, we needed a Waterboy there. Yeah.
I'll be needed. Yeah, lock that in for next year. I'll definitely be the Waterboy.
That's exciting. We needed a bit of bloke representation there.
Yeah, I think so. We obviously Hammy was the ref, but he's more aligned to sports bet. Well, he is aligned to sports bet. But yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. It looked like a lot of fun last year. And man, I see what impressed me about last year. Random stats guy. Oh. Holy shit, what a beast. And
I saw it live.
Yeah.
Randall can
was it?
Play.
Yeah, he can.
He can play.
He's quick.
He's so quick. He was awesome. I had to leave at half time because I had a birthday. Lol. I feel like that's just like such a random reason to leave a charity match. But what I did see was unreal. But Rando's genuinely knows what he's doing
for sure. I got a lot of time for Rando. Like, the first time I probably had like a proper conversation with him was at that Hello Sport Chrissy party last year, and we were on a boat, and behind the boat there was this like lily pad that you could just kind of just like lie on and like drink beers.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like cycling through, but you know, like the novelty kind of wears off. Like everyone jumps on for 5 minutes, blah blah. And me, Rando, and Timmy were like the last three. So we jumped on and like the sunset was coming down over the Harbour Bridge, and we just sat on this lily pad for honestly over an hour, just spinning yarns and drinking beers. It was great to get to know Rando. He's a legend.
That's probably one of the nicest ways to get to know someone.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yep.
I'm surprised you're not best friends after an interaction like that.
Yeah. Well, I actually already messaged him this week. I'm like, you coming to Magic Round?
Is he?
Yep, he's coming up.
Amazing.
He's not coming up the whole time, but he's coming up for a bit. So
I love it. All right, let's just jump straight into Magic Round then,
let's do it.
because I said I was going to withhold any questions or advice. I've never been to Magic Round, Matty. I've been to Suncorp.
Yep.
And I love it there. And I've done the Women's World Cup up there, which was crazy because we had obviously like massive crowds of people, and I saw what Caxton Street could look like.
That Women's World Cup was one of the highlights of Australian sport history ever.
Easily.
It was like, I didn't think I'd get around it that like at all, but I was like waking up pumped for the Matildas.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, Courtney, my girlfriend, she happened to be in Queensland for, can't remember which game it was, but they'd won. It was the game when they were in Queensland at Suncorp and they won. I don't know who
Was it the penalty game against France?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, so she wasn't in the stadium, but she was at the Caxton when it happened. And she was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. So yeah.
Well, so that was, I was based in Brisbane for the Women's World Cup. I went to every Matildas game. I worked at every Matildas game. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, like I look back on that and I just can't believe that even happened. But even working in it and preparing for it, and I think I've mentioned this before, I just didn't expect it to be as big as it was. But the reason I bring it up around Magic Round is obviously it was Suncorp, it was Caxton Street, it was that whole vibe. I got a feel for it with the Women's World Cup and how people in Queensland just love their sport, but when it's rugby league, it's even deeper, I think. So I'm really excited to see what the vibe is like this weekend.
Well, I've been to Suncorp quite a few times, and I'll give you two separate versions. So I've been to the last two Magic Rounds, both just the most incredible weekend. Like the vibe up in Brizzy is unmatched to anything I've seen in rugby league. Everyone's best mate.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. People are packed all down Caxton Street. Everyone's just chatting to each other. It's a great vibe, and I can't wait for this weekend. Like, I'm so excited. On the flip side, I've also been there for Origin, and it is not as friendly.
Wow, you see that like that darker side of it.
Well, the first year I went was 2014 when they won. Sorry, when New South Wales broke the drought.
The 8-year drought.
Yeah, but I was there for game 3, so the series was already over.
Yeah.
And I remember some dude, like I was being a dickhead. I was like, so 2014, I would have been like a 20-year-old idiot. But I was, I tried to start a New South Wales chant with my mates there, and I've got it all on video. But some dude got a can and threw it at my head, and like it hit my head, and it got me a little bit, and then I got kicked out. I got kicked out of the Caxton for that, and everyone I tell that story to is just like, every Queenslander I tell that story to is like, yeah, so you freaking should. That's what you get. But to be fair, I'm painting it in a bad light. Like,
no, you're not.
It was every time I've been out there for Origin. It's hostile. It's hostile, but it's still, you don't feel unsafe or anything. Like it's still a good vibe, but it's a very different feeling to Magic Round. But I love them both. Like, it's just 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, we get the women's state of origin and we get Magic Round. So I think that is just the perfect combination, and I cannot wait because Guru and I are heading up Thursday, so we'll be there for the women's state of origin. So follow our socials if you don't already, and we'll definitely review the game and do all that stuff, but then straight into Magic Round the next day.
I've been to a couple of women's origin games. I went to the, before it was called women's origin, it was called the Women's Interstate Challenge.
Yeah.
And I was there up in Gold Coast when they broke the 17-year-old drought.
Wow.
So Queensland had won 17 in a row. Then they got a 4-all draw, I think in 2016 or 2015. And then in 27 or whatever year it was, they won. And it was like this huge thing. This was before it was called Women's Origin. And I was working for New South Wales Rugby League, so I was with the girls team as their media person. And Jesus, I haven't seen a team celebrate anything in my life. Like, we were all out, like the whole coaching staff, the whole team, all out pretty much until the sun came up around the Gold Coast. It was just fantastic. And then a few years later, I went to, just as a fan, I went to Queensland, New South Wales Origin. I think it might have been 2018 or 2019, and Isabel Kelly scored at the end to win it. It was at North Sydney Oval, and the place was just a buzz. So, women's Origin, there is Yeah, I've had some really good memories there. So you'll have a blast.
I'm super excited, and that just got me way more hyped for it. But I can't wait. I think you mentioned the Matildas before and how that for you was an amazing moment. I just think women's sport is evolving so much. There's so much opportunity now. Yes,
sure.
it's been around for years, but the momentum that we're seeing is so great, and it's the perfect time to start getting around it.
Absolutely. The just in all sports, like specifically rugby league, like the pathways that they're putting in place, it's just the girls in 20 years are going to thank these people for
the pioneers,
it's
right?
fantastic.
Yeah. And one thing I think rugby league, you know, the NRL are doing really well is that the expansion has been slower and more concentrated.
Yep.
As opposed, you know, AFL, they expanded every single club at the same time.
Yeah.
That's diluting a lot of talent across the code.
Yeah.
Whereas what we've seen with NRLW is that it feels way more competitive because of the way that they've expanded it. So it's super exciting to see what it's going to look like in 20 years. Every club hopefully will have a women's side and the amount of talent will also be on par with that.
You're right. And the AFL, they'll figure it out. But at the moment, their comp has just suffered.
Yeah.
But the way even I know they've gone to 3 games in Origin this year, which is fantastic. But even that slow process, I think, was a good thing as well. Yeah. Like you just got they've been really patient with it, and I think that as far as a domestic comp, obviously women's football is leading the way in Australia, but as far as a domestic comp goes, the NRLW is right up there.
Yeah, no, definitely, because we see a lot of numbers, a lot of engagement around the domestic leagues. On an international level, Aussies always show up. They always support. And we saw that with the Matildas and everything. But I think I'm really excited to see what State of Origin is going to look like this year, because it's one of the first big women's sports events we've had in rugby league since all of that.
Yeah.
And we get to see what the momentum shift is like.
For sure. And I'm keen to just see it because it's at Suncorp, right? So like a standalone game at Suncorp is mad.
Unreal. And I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I wish I was going up on Thursday, but I'm going up on Friday. But
we could have you could have watched it with us.
Oh well, I'll be watching on TV. I'll tell you that.
Stuff.
Tell you that for sure.
All right. Well, Matty.
Yes.
I think that's it. But there was one thing that I just got from Guru that I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
That's how casual his show is. I'm just going to pull out my phone and read a text from him. He said, Bender, double date, punch, Hammy, Guru, Timmy.
Bender, double date, punch. Oh, that's mean, Guru. All right, just for that, Guru, you're getting punched just because you asked the question. I love all the girls equally. So this is mean for double date. So I'm just gonna go based off. I've had a couple of longer sessions with Timmy.
Yeah,
and he's good. He's good to hang around. So I'll
double dating.
So I'll double date Hammy and Mon.
Gotcha.
And I'll go on a bender with Timmy. But Beck, you're welcome to come on the double date. Like, screw Guru. Guru's getting punched.
I like that.
Yeah.
Beck is an absolute legend.
She's the best. And she's a huge Rabbitos fan.
I know. I adore her. She's the best.
So bender with Timmy, but then all the girls can come on the double date. So we can
might come too.
You can come as well. We can all go together.
I love it.
So
okay.
Sucked in Guru.
Lock it in. It's actually just a group hang and Guru's not invited.
Yeah. I love it.
You really turned that on him.
Yeah. Good. I think
and
I did
he's
well
getting
there.
punched as well.
I think I did well there.
If the punch to the ego wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, Matty, thank you so much for joining us on the Catch-Up.
No dramas, Kat.
I'm very excited to see you at Magic Round.
Okay,
and I suppose we just keep hydrated. Is there any other advice for me over the weekend?
Look, if I'm going to give you any advice, I probably won't be even following it myself. So you're probably wasted right now.
All right. I know I'll be fine.
You'll be sweet. I
can get through it. But where can people find you on social media, and then also Magic Round if they want to get a photo with you?
So Instagram, Matty the Waterboy. But Magic Round, so my schedule is going to be, I'm going to be at the Caxton from about 3 o'clock to about 7 o'clock on the Friday, then going to Caxton Street Brewing Co. for a KO live show. And then Saturday, I'll probably be at the Caxton all day. I'll be setting up from 10. We'll be in the car park. So we've got a bloke in a bar meet and greet from 1 till 2. That'll probably go to about 3.
Yeah.
So come to that. But yeah, I'll be floating around the Caxton the whole time.
So good. I can't wait.
I'm keen. I'm so excited. Holy shit.
Well, thank you again for joining us, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back next week with some more fun content. We're doing something fun on Thursday up in Queensland. So that will be next week's episode. And who knows what that will turn out like. But I'm looking forward to it. But thank you again, Matty, the Waterboy, for joining us. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week.